Alright guys, we're watching a video called The Satisfying Downfall of Adam22 or no Adam22 No Jumper. That's where we're gonna put it right here so you guys can see it better. And I can make it actually bigger actually. There you go. Alright, here we go.
One of the best podcasts to get connected with your favorite up-and-coming artists in the underground. From interviews with artists like XXXTentacion and Juice WRLD to putting out music videos for up-and-coming artists, they had one of the biggest and best platforms in hip-hop. But fast forward to 2025, and Adam22, the owner of No Jumper, just put out a video claiming that they are going broke.
So there's something that I've been hiding from you guys. No Jumper is going broke.
On April 2nd of
I don't believe that.
2025, Adam22 posted a video on
Here's the thing. The reason why I don't believe that is because they don't want to put out a lot of more bigger numbers, so the lawsuit doesn't add on more numbers. So they're hiding their income. They want to put out the image that they're not making money. So yeah, that's what I believe. That's what I think is happening. And yeah, I don't think I don't think they are actually going broke. So they're just scamming people to give them more money on Patreon, in my personal opinion.
the No Jumper channel titled
I gotta
No
fix this, by the
Jumper
way.
is Going Broke. He started off by describing how much money he wasted by trying to grow and creating all of these expenses for himself, even though the views were never that great.
We expanded too much during COVID at just about the exact moment that our revenue streams all took a hit. We hired a whole bunch of editors and other employees, and we bought a huge office building that cost us almost $4 million, thinking that the growth that we were experiencing during the pandemic was going to continue. And unfortunately, that did not happen. Our YouTube numbers, which had doubled or even tripled, gradually returned to normal. Our Snapchat and Facebook numbers, which had exploded during COVID, sometimes even hitting 6 figures a month, shrank by about 80% or more. Our Patreon, which was absolutely killing it for a year or two when we were doing uncensored, aka nude interviews with up-and-coming superstars like
Oh my
and
god.
fell off quite a bit with the launch of Plug Talk and a decreased interest in seeing us interview stars.
He also wanted to talk about how big of a hit the channel took when all of his hosts were leaving. Adam continued to say that the No Jumper Instagram account was actually taken down, which also seems like a huge cash flow source for them. On top of all this, he also said that they're being sued by a former employee, which is also very expensive for him. Adam said that because of all this, they had to lay off a bunch of their staff. They're trying to sell their multi-million-dollar warehouse that they just moved into like 2 years ago, and they also have to close their store. Regardless, it seemed like this whole video was made basically so that Adam could just get some sympathy and ask fans to support.
But I honestly spend pretty much all of my time trying to create as much content as possible with No Jumper, and I can't really justify doing so unless the fundamentals of the business make sense. It was a big decision to share this stuff with you guys, but at a certain point I realized that I've been honest with the world about just about everything in my life over the years, and it felt wrong to keep all this stuff that we've been dealing with in secret. So I know what you're thinking, what can you do to help? Well, I do have some ideas, which I'll sort into 3 categories here: free, cheap, and generous.
And if you guys look at the like to dislike ratio, or if people are commenting, people aren't being too supportive. But you're probably wondering, why do people not feel bad for Adam22 and No Jumper? Why are their finances so bad? Why did they hire all these people and have to lay them off? And you may even be wondering what happened to the original No Jumper style of content. Well, to best understand that,
Well, the thing is, I think it was all with the sick of clout, and like, I don't know if it's uncensored content. It's like, it's not big business for a lot of people to a certain extent. I don't know what, like, what's No Plug Talk? So I'm guessing it's uncensored that too, because you said there's a podcast there too. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like that kind of content is not really reliable as much, especially like, I feel like it's different from like OnlyFans and stuff like that for like just one creator of a woman and stuff like that. And the other content, I feel like it just keeps changing and changing and changing hosts. So like the brand of No Jumper changed so much, especially with hosts. Like he lost so many people that were significant and actually a big prominent on the No Jumper podcast, except for him, obviously. Like because that's like his thing, and I believe also with like everything with like the feds, the cops keep like arresting people that were in the podcast was never good in long term. Him doing saying crazy shit for clout for sake. I feel like that's slowing down. But I still believe he's still making money. I feel like he's just hiding stuff because of the lawsuit. That's just me. Maybe he'll say that in a video, but I feel like that's the thing too.
I think it's important to look at No Jumper's origins. Originally, No Jumper began as a YouTube channel / podcast involved in the BMX community. It was created by Adam22, who owned a BMX store and was very involved. He also had some friends that were underground rappers, such as Xavier Wolf. He decided to interview some of his friends.
He looks so different.
Some views, so he continued interviewing more and more underground rappers. Quickly, he started getting guests like Black Cray, Gangsta Boo, Puya, Suicide Boys, and many more. And what made his podcast so appealing at the time was it felt really underground. Not only was he talking to underground artists, but the whole DIY setup and great conversations just made it feel like a really good way to connect to your favorite artists. He interviewed tons of underground artists, was vlogging concerts, and even posting music videos for artists like Lil Peep 10 years ago. He got Yachty, Maxo, Cream, Danny Duncan, Larry June, Andy Milonakis, and tons of others.
Oh yeah, Mandy.
The most iconic interview, and the one that blew him up the most, was his interview with XXXTentacion, right as he was about to blow up. This interview was an hour and 20-minute insight into the life of a crazy, mysterious, and controversial artist who was exploding onto the scene. After this, Adam was able to lock in with tons of people from Riley Reid to Nadeshot for whatever reason. Honestly, if you can think of anybody who was coming up in the last decade, Adam probably interviewed them. Adam was posting vlogs on No Jumper, and like I said, everything felt very DIY. But over time, he went on to bigger artists, he got a new studio, and upgraded pretty much everything. From like 2015 and 2016 to like 2020, No Jumper was one of the leading, most important media platforms in rap. They helped to break so many artists, posted tons of music videos, and behind the scenes for big artists in the game. They were also doing news on other platforms like Instagram, which was probably really helpful for their income. No Jumper
at the time, yeah,
a ton of viral moments in their
it's gonna just really die down though.
Wow, Adam, big
There
boy.
we go.
What the hell?
Shout out to the homie Boonk.
Is he drunk or what the hell's happening?
He's doing much better now, so you guys don't need to worry about that. However,
okay.
It seemed like eventually chasing viral moments would be what led to No Jumper's downfall. I think what marks the beginning of the end for No Jumper was episode 1 of the No Jumper show. On July 25th of 2019, they aired the first episode featuring Camgirl and Housephone. Housephone in particular had been really tight with Adam since the beginning of No Jumper. They already had started podcasts on No Jumper, but this was the first one where it seemed like Adam tried to take it seriously. And after this, it really just opened the floodgates for tons of new podcasts, hosts, and guests to come. A Compton rapper by the name of AD got his own podcast. Then Housephone got his own podcast. These guys would either do live shows or just pre-recorded shows, and eventually the more and more they brought their friends on, the No Jumper cast grew a ton. It went from Adam and Housephone and a few others to eventually dozens of people with shows or just regularly occurring appearances on the platform. Two specific additions to the No Jumper cast, Crip Mac as a personality and the Thoughts Next Door podcast, would open up a lot of doors to a lot of problems that No Jumper would eventually face. Regardless though, throughout the 2020s, Adam had tons of people hosting their own shows or collaborating.
I don't know what that says.
Lush, Flacco, Brick Baby, T-Rel, AD, Sharp, and plenty of others. They also had the No Jumper Sports podcast, which is funny because the host Kiki got a tattoo of the logo.
Ooh.
15 episodes.
Wow, that's
A lot of
bad.
these names are not familiar. Unless you're super deep into rap or this sort of content, it's likely that you are not familiar with a lot of the people that he was trying to bring on and replace himself with. Old fans of the No Jumper channel likely were not really interested in watching tons of random people talk about random things when originally they subscribed for underground rap content or interviews with rappers or Adam talking to rappers or vlogging and things like that. You guys probably don't even know this, but like 2 years ago they even invited me to join them on the news, and that I think that just goes to show they're inviting anybody. Like, why would who wants to watch me on No Jumper, right? Nobody. so I don't understand why they just have so many random people on their show. They even had a brief podcast with Long Beach Griffey, who's like a YouTube skit guy, which I just thought that was really random. But regardless, the only way that all of these random hosts were going viral was with controversial moments, like when his co-host Almighty Suspect got into a fight with one of their guests.
Ben Franklin knows who
Oh yeah, I remember that.
who the I am. I'm
You
getting
said
money
what?
every day. I said
You
Ben
said-
Franklin knows who the I am.
Who you calling a bitch
Franklin, I'm
though?
calling you a bitch.
Yeah.
Some intense arguments between hosts, co-hosts, and guests over time became a common occurrence on the No Jumper platform.
How did you and Kevo get into it to begin with?
He was
Like,
cloud chasing off
Man,
Kevo.
shut up. I just said let the man talk.
What'd you say, Kevo?
Bro, suck my dick, bro. That's a
Hey, stop
bro.
playing before I smack the shit out you.
Do it.
Hey, no. Watch out. We ain't doing that here. Watch out.
I'll beat the out of you. No, man.
So dumb. So dumb, dude. So dumb.
Coming on the platform and Adam began hiring all of these people, so many fights broke out. Like I mentioned,
You know what, like Adam22 or the No Jumper podcast became? Jerry Springer. And you know how Jerry Springer was one of the top crazy daylight shows, whatever I've heard they're called. But it was one of the crazy shows back in the day, but then it died down because it was like the same kind of content. It didn't evolve, it didn't try to change, it didn't try to go with the times or anything like that. So like the Jerry Springer show just really went downhill in quality. Because it was just something that people just didn't want to watch anymore because it was like, well, you already kind of seen a lot of it already. So it's like, yeah, I think we're good on this type of content now, or TV. That's what kind of what No Jumper reminds me of. Yeah, that's what kind of like it reminds me of, just like the Jerry Springer of the podcast shows, I guess you could say.
earlier, it seemed as if No Jumper had just began chasing these viral moments rather than actually setting out to make good content or thought-provoking interviews.
So,
Oh, cuz. My nigga Bill in this motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? My nigga Bill in this motherfucker, bro. Hold on, bro. Hey, hold on.
I think a fan summed it up best in a comment where they said, No Jumper was like watching a group of high school kids try to run a podcast. And it had become like a modern day world star damn near, where the focus of the content was just low hanging fruit, low IQ entertainment. Like, look at this thumbnail and title.
yeah.
2015 clickbait YouTube garbage content. No Jumper had began turning into a reality TV show and fans were not happy. Even Adam would eventually admit that it probably wasn't the best idea to chase virality all of the time on the podcast.
Those viral moments, for the most part, were kind of like destructive to what we were building.
Of course.
And really, like, yeah, it might have been fun in the moment, or it might, like, I'm watching, like, you know, react to like clips from No Jumper at one point, and he's saying like, bro, this looks like a hostile workplace. Like, people are just being too aggressive towards each other, etc. Like, this is not. And I'm kind of watching it like, yeah.
But it wasn't just because of the controversy, the fights, and the randoms that were always hosting No Jumper that caused it to fail. In part, it was the fact that none of them could seem to get along. The many hosts on this platform began to beef with one another, and a lot of that was fueled by the No Jumper subreddit. Believe it or not, it was actually really obvious to fans that a lot of the people at No Jumper were actually reading the subreddit. They were making burners and constantly responding to and arguing with fans. But then the No Jumper host realized
So dumb.
there was a lot of negative posts about the No Jumper host, except for Adam and his wife, Lena. Adam was a mod of the No Jumper subreddit, and he was actively removing anything negative about him and his wife, but leaving up tons of negative stuff about his co-host, his employees, and some people who he claimed were his friends. My friend 1111 actually interviewed a mod from the old No Jumper subreddit, and he explained that this was actually a huge deal for No Jumper.
Hold on, there's nothing never negative about Adam and his girl. We like, hold on, that's cool and fine, but now that we see that they're mods, it's crazy because there's something negative about D's girl, my girl,
people could be getting dragged to hell, but that could stay up. But anything Adam and Lena related, oh, it could go down in an instant.
As a moderator of the page, Adam had been banning accounts and deleting posts if they were made about him or Lena, but left them up no matter how bad they were about fellow hosts and their personal lives. After seeing this, our mod guy here then started unbanning these users and apologizing, which Adam clearly did not like and led to him being removed as a mod.
The No Jumper people were so involved in the Reddit that some key info got leaked by a host onto the Reddit from a burner account. Then this caused like a whole bunch of drama on the IRL No Jumper podcast. This wasn't just Reddit anymore, this was real life, which is crazy because this whole Reddit incident caused a huge fallout between Lush, Flacco, AD, and Adam. And this was not the only infighting that occurred. Remember how earlier I said House Phone was with Adam from like the beginning of No Jumper?
Oh yeah, and then he left. Yeah.
Falling out after Adam interviewed a transgender woman named Gracie Jane.
Oh right, and I believe he left the clip. So he pretty much what he did was he out his friend that he had sex with a transgender or something like that, right? Like he outed him on a podcast. It wasn't live either, so they could have easily like edited that part out if they were like, oh yeah, we shouldn't probably like have that on the podcast, so we don't so like so nobody really finds out about that, right? Because again, it's like that's up to the person if they want to come out with that information, right? Well, he was like, no, screw it, put it out.
Podcast, they talked about how she had hooked up with House Phone.
Oh, come on. You've already sold out entire life here.
Yeah, well.
Did that look down upon to expose that somebody may have been with a trans person?
Yeah, absolutely. I sign NDAs and I take them very seriously, so just letting everybody know
you didn't
that.
get one I'm guessing?
He didn't pay me. Fuck him.
Seems like I'm worried about people calling me a bad friend for just not editing this and putting it out. They're going to be mad at me, but I'm just...
He's just going to be... well, how about this? Acting like you didn't do some that you did do, and you know you did.
I've been friends with him for like... And I just don't want to be like...
The truth is the truth.
Apparently House Phone and Adam had talked about it before it went live, and he asked Adam to cut that part. But then Adam claimed that he told his editor to censor everything about House Phone. He did show the text, and he did show the part where he said that he would just wanted it cut, and the editor accidentally left it in. And fans very quickly pieced together who Adam was talking about in this interview. Fans were extremely upset with Adam, commenting things like, Adam's not a bad friend. He's not a friend at all. He doesn't respect any of his employees. He's just scared of half of them. Another said, the fact this interview is still up speaks volumes. Eventually, House Phone confronted Adam on the podcast and things got very serious.
You're talking about, yeah, he's been going through the mom shit. He's been going through the health. You talking about the person that fucking raised me, that birthed me, my best friend that died? Oh, just he's been going through the mom shit.
But you are you actually acting like I have some kind of disrespect for your mom when
You're disrespectful as
I paid for the fucking
First
funeral as soon as it happened just because...
Pussy. Come on, bro. Not here, bro. Not here. Not here. Pussy. Not here. Come on. No, not here, bro. All right, let me go. Not here, my nigga.
Because of all of the beefs between hosts, Adam, and the fans, half of the No Jumper cast left between like 2022 and 2024. After this incident, the entire subreddit actually turned on Adam because he was deleting every post about the situation. So the fans created a subreddit called No Jumper V2, which was unmoderated, became very popular, and was very critical of Adam and No Jumper. It's really weird, and you'll notice this throughout the video, but it's like No Jumper has a really strong core fan base, but that fan base kind of just hates No Jumper. It's really interesting. Anyways, because of all the issues Adam had with his co-hosts and employees, it eventually led to him getting called out and exposed multiple times for some pretty controversial things. I'm not going to go too deep into this because this could be like a whole hour-long video in and of itself, but basically Adam was allegedly involved in some weird things that were dug up on the internet.
Oh, Adam16 or whatever, what people call him now.
Any of the math inclined out there are probably reading this and thinking something like, she's 19 now, you were 23 then. How old was she then? Well, she was 16. But come on, man, look at her. She's 18 or 19 in most of the pics here, but she didn't look much different at all then. If statutory rape is wrong, I didn't want to be right. Now I can make the argument that the age of consent is 16 in Canada, although I'm sure that traveling from America to Canada to have sex with a minor is still legal as hell. But really, fucking argument. She was stupid hot and I wanted in. Now, to be fair to Adam, he never said in this post that they hooked up around that time. He said that he actually started dating a different girl, and then after Adam and that girl started dating, by that point this girl was 19, so then they hooked up, which I think some people would classify as grooming. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually researched an entire video about all of these like weird sexual controversies that Adam22 was involved in, but it was a long time ago and I was just coming off a cease and desist, so I was kind of scared to post this one, to be honest, so I never did. But I have a ton of research on all of this stuff, and there was a bunch more weird things that he got caught up in, like on a super old forum from 2006, when after being asked the age range of girls he's been with, he said, "I don't think I've done any 17-year-olds since besides the one last year. Also, I am 22 right now." He also said on this forum, 50 is a good age. That last one was probably like a 2006 edgy joke, but still, it's really weird. This is why a lot of people turned on Adam22, and a lot of people even started calling him Adam16. Because of all of this stuff, a lot of people did not like Adam22, whether they were fans of No Jumper or not. It seemed like the overall hip-hop community as well was not a fan of Adam22, nor his platform, because of how controversial they had become. And that's why I have this theory that a lot of artists are no longer going on No Jumper for interviews, especially bigger ones, because it doesn't look good for their PR teams. On top of all of this, Adam was also dipping his toes into political podcasts, which come without controversy. He's having people like Nick Fuentes and Sneeko on. So not only was the entire crew falling apart, but people were beginning to hate the main guy himself, Adam22. And on top of all of that, No Jumper had really began to lose their identity as a platform in general. Over time, hip-hop content stopped becoming the main focus of No Jumper, and they started talking about one of two things. First, they started interviewing a ton of porn stars. If you didn't know, Adam22 started an adult film media thing with his wife Lena called Plug Talk. So porn stuff is something that he's been involved in a lot over the last couple of years. Also, he went mega viral for letting his wife do some solo content with another guy, which has definitely changed fans' opinions on him. A lot of people now view him as a cuck and a sellout and all sorts of things. Regardless, because of their involvement in porn, Adam and his co-host started interviewing a ton of stars on No Jumper. It used to be on occasion, like with really big ones like Riley Reid, for example, but then it started happening more and more often. To this day, fans are still complaining about it because like the first half decade of No Jumper's lifespan was strictly hip-hop content, strictly underground. So when a bunch of the content became porn or OnlyFans related, it really seemed to rub fans the wrong way. But the other thing that caused problems with fans was how deep into gang stuff Adam and the hosts of No Jumper were getting involved in. And this may actually play a hand into why No Jumper is going broke, or at least that he's claiming they are.
Yeah, claiming, there you go.
Haven't been tuned in.
He said
No
it.
Jumper except for maybe the occasional interview once a year, or if you're just not very in the loop at all. No Jumper has regularly been having a lot of LA gang members on, and they frequently talk about.
I think the biggest reason why a lot of these people are going to the interview for No Jumper is because it's still a big platform in No Jumper. But I think like No Jumper already lost his edge, or he lost his credibility, lost his image. That's why they, like he said before, that's why they can't get any big rappers anymore. If they wanted to go more legit, more in the right direction to get more bigger people to go there, he should have focused on being No Jumper being a brand that was more polished, like DJ Vlad, which people hate him. I know people hate him, but DJ Vlad still gets interviews with a bunch of celebrities and a bunch of like people who are more top tier, because the way he does his interviews are mostly just one-on-one. And I personally believe that he should have gone that direction, but he didn't. He should have gone in, but he wanted the viral.
Recently, that's come back to bite them. Brick Baby, who I mentioned earlier, and Loose Cannon were recently indicted on a RICO, and both of these guys frequented No Jumper. They were connected to a guy named Big U, who allegedly is like the leader of a gang called the Rollin' 60s Crips. I don't know much about gang stuff, and I'm not going to pretend to, but basically it's a bunch of gang-affiliated people hanging around No Jumper all the time and discussing what they do on the actual show. Whack 100, another guy who is heavily
so
in the music industry and affiliated with No Jumper, is also affiliated with Big U, and there's even a clip of Adam trolling him about it on the podcast.
Back, what's up with this screenshot that Traplo Ross sent me? Are you begging Big U not to kill you?
That's cap. That's AI.
It's in the indictment. It's in the indictment that you were saying, don't do this. My wife, my kids in the car. Draws. Don't do this.
That's not a text message.
As someone who hasn't been tapped into No Jumper for years, it's so weird seeing him talk about all this really serious gang stuff rather than just like interviewing people. And I don't think that most fans are really into this sort of content either.
Yeah, no.
Basically putting a murder on Big U and claiming that he's looking for information about it or whatever. This is very confusing to me. Like, how in any way is this acceptable?
There's so much more detail to this, and I'm not really educated on it. It's like a really
I watched that video from Point and Shoot. Yeah,
this video by
it's good. It's a good video.
Captures what's going on right now with the gang stuff. But regardless, if you guys want a more simplified version, there's basically just a ton of gang-related people hanging out around No Jumper, and a bunch of dummies were talking about this stuff publicly on the platform. It also got to the point where people were calling Adam the feds because he was encouraging all of this self-snitching on his show, asking questions the police could possibly use. I mean, look at this clip.
I saw this video that alleged that it was you involved in this crazy ass shootout. What was that situation?
That's a weird question to ask. A weird fucking question.
Maybe it might not have been you. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I don't think it was me.
Okay, but that wasn't related to any of the cases that you caught?
Bro. Like, why would you ask that question?
Okay.
So eventually, after the Crips who hung around No Jumper got picked up, the police actually went to Adam. Wack 100 claimed that he
They had
was
to.
arrested, but Adam cleared that up and said that never happened, with some even claiming this was a publicity stunt.
A lot of claims being made. Wack 100, said you got picked up by the feds. Can I ask you, where's that coming from?
I mean, Wack got a overactive imagination, to say the least. I was not picked up by the feds, but they did pay a visit to my residence, and my lawyer
They had to.
them, and they made it clear that I'm not in any kind of trouble right now. I'm not being investigated, but what they did want to get their hands on, which is kind of crazy, is that they wanted to
Financial.
see the cease and desist that we received from Big U maybe a year ago, that basically was requesting that we remove a podcast appearance in which Loose Cannon said that Big U had prior knowledge of Nipsey Hussle's death before it actually happened.
Regardless, the police definitely watched some No Jumper to help themselves in this case.
See a lot of people saying that 22 is the reason why Brick got caught up. Out of here. 22, you know what I do. I put people in position, put them on the podcast, give them jobs, help them make legal money. A lot of this.
I just realized I should put Goku first before I do.
It's like, I'm not seeing anything that says anything about stuff that he's done in the last 2 years since he's been with us, right? So, you know, end of the day, I do employ people from the streets, and I guess, you know, people from the streets sometimes get caught up in federal RICO indictments, whatever the this shit is.
But lots of fans still blame Adam. The reason I bring all of this up is because it got so hectic, and I can't imagine being a fan of No Jumper from the early days and seeing the entire platform turn into tons of people that nobody knows, a bunch of porn interviews, and just gang related stuff all the time. After the news about No Jumper going broke came out, a lot of fans began to theorize that the reason he said he's going to make all of these changes and the fact that they're going broke was because he got too wrapped up into the gang stuff. Like one fan commented, "I smell a move and rebrand from street gang members back to rappers. Who wants to bet?" Another person said,
"Oh yeah, of course.
Y'all going broke because you keep bringing them corny ass artists and gang members on. Don't nobody want to hear that shit." Which I think really amplifies the public sentiment. Regardless, after everything that's gone down the past like 5 years, I don't think most fans feel too bad for Adam. 2 years before this even happened, a fan said on Reddit, "The collapse of No Jumper needs to be studied in business schools as a case study on how poor leadership can cause a company to collapse. Every decision made by Adam literally is the opposite of what he should have done. From not drawing up proper contracts with staff, him literally being missing from the office half the time, leaving Josh to handle staff, exposing your friend and longtime employee, to publicly embarrassing and firing an employee on air. The list is long of all the terrible management decisions made by nojumper and Adam specifically. Another fan on Reddit said this: nojumper has become a cesspool of sensationalism and superficiality. What started as a platform for underground culture has devolved into a parade of clout chasing and cringeworthy interviews. The hosts seem more interested in creating drama and viral moments than in delivering any actual hip-hop content. The lack of depth and constant pandering to the lowest common denominator makes it hard to take the whole channel seriously. Someone responded saying, "This ain't a hip-hop channel, it's a gang channel at this point." Clearly,
it's Jerry Springer. All right, it's Jerry Springer.
Jumper has lost their way, and it's finally being reflected in their finances. I think a really good contrast to the Jumper channel is the Joe Budden podcast, because over the years he's just really maintained a hip-hop focused and centric discussion and hasn't chased clout, tried to go viral, or any of that stuff, at least too much. Whereas the No Jumper podcast just devolved into a huge mess with everything I've described in this video. So maybe Adam will try to take the channel back to its roots, but after all of the controversy and things he's been exposed,
they're never gonna be back on top anymore.
Back to where they once were.
Yeah, that's never gonna happen.
This video 2 hours, but I wanted to kind of get this news out a little bit sooner. It's like 4 a.m. and I'm really tired. So if you guys like this video, you might like my video about MTV and their corporate downfall as well. It's not doing too hot, so you guys should check it out. It's a really good video, I promise. You guys should check that out. But anyways,
yeah, dude. Yeah, the no jumper stuff, the whole downfall, it's on them. I don't respect Adam22. This is why I haven't paid attention to him in years. I used to watch No Jumper when it was just more of like straight out interviews and not like clout chasing or porn stars and stuff. Like, what the fuck do I want to watch a porn star interview? Like, no offense, it's just like, the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? I just sat down to eat and the time is impeccable. I don't know why I read that. Like, that doesn't mean. He could have done an entire production in $1,200 a month apartment. That's true. Yeah, he could have done something way cheaper. Like, I don't know why he went extremely big, even though the numbers were big around the pandemic time. But a lot of us should have known that. A lot of people should have known that pandemic numbers were not going to be. They were not going to last forever, right? Like that. They should have known that. I don't know why he just thought, "Oh, we're making so much money. We're gonna do this and that." And we're gonna I don't get it. I don't get it. He put the video out acting like his views declined because of the pandemic. Like, no, it was the pandemic stuff too, for sure. But it was like everything all with it. Because again, it felt like a podcast or a show that you don't want to watch at all, dude. It really didn't. Like,